Hi, I'm doing my best and worst movies of 2017, which I haven't done before because last year I didn't see enough movies that I didn't like to make a top 10, but this year I did, and I don't know why I'm happy about that, but yeah. So obviously, because I've got a lot to get through, I've got like 20 films to mention, I'm not going to do too much like analysis or whatever on them, also because I did like monthly like film reviews and wrap-ups whatever throughout the year, so if you want to hear more about opinions or whatever, you can go to that. So I'll just be like quite quick and manic because I've got a lot to talk about. I'm going to start with the best because good things first. So my number 10 of the year was Jackie. Jackie was incredible. Natalie Portman's performance was incredible in Jackie, and it's such an understated film in the sense that it's about the Kennedys and this huge family and this very iconic lifestyle, but it's not about that. It's just about a woman who's lost her husband and she's grieving and how she deals with that. It's a very personal film and it's beautifully shot and so well acted, and it really stayed with me a long time after I'd watched it, and I really recommend it. Number 9 was My Life as a Zucchini or My Life as a Courgette. I don't know which one is the correct one, but it's a French stop motion animation film that's just incredible. It's about this little boy, Courgette, who becomes an orphan, and he is sent to this orphanage, and it's about how he makes friends and makes enemies and just living his life, and the animation is gorgeous and it's just such a lovely story. Number 8 was Casting JonBenet, which I saw at the Berlin Film Festival, but it's now on Netflix, so you have no excuse, you have to go watch it. It's so good. It's a documentary about the murder case of JonBenet Ramsey, who was a 6-year-old beauty pageant queen, and it's just such an interesting format for a documentary. It blends fact and fiction because, much like this case, there's so much kind of hearsay and, you know, false ideas surrounding it, and it's such a clever way to mirror that in the film, and it's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen. I really recommend it. I'm going to be saying I really recommend it a lot in this video, so yeah, if you take a shot every time I do that to make this video more fun. Number 7 was Logan. I cried a lot in Logan. Really good film, like really good, and it kind of set the bar for kind of superhero movies and superhero content, and we need to be aiming for that bar because oh, it was so good. Number 6, again, SpiderMan Homecoming, which I've just realised I've put ahead of Logan, and it's not really on the level of Logan, but it's different. It's not as gritty and emotional, it's just very fun, and I think I said in my Christmas video thing that it kind of has a really unique tone and can stand outside of the Marvel canon because it's kind of like a John Hughes movie, and it feels like a teenage guy who gets superpowers, not like a superhero guy who happens to be a teenager. It's like a different, they stress the different thing, which I really like. Okay. And Tom Holland was great as Spider-Man, and everyone else was great as their characters. It's just a really enjoyable and fun movie, and I recommend it. Number 5 was Get Out. I really don't need to say much about Get Out because everyone loves Get Out and everyone's seen Get Out, and it's incredible. Everything about it incredible, so enjoy it. Number 4 was How to Talk to Girls at Parties, and I don't think this came out on general release in 2017. I saw it at the BFI Film Festival, so look out for it this year when it comes out because it was so good. It's based on a Neil Gaiman short story, I believe, which is also a graphic novel, but it's so much fun and it's completely insane, and I don't want to give too much about the plot away because I went in knowing absolutely nothing, and I can tell you at no point in the film did I know where it was going to go. It's so unpredictable, it's bizarre, it's wild, it's memorable, it's fun. I'm thinking of more adjectives in my head, but it's just insane, and it meshes so many different genres, and the lead performances are incredible. Just please go find it if you can. It's such a gem of a film and it's very unique, and I've never seen anything like it in my life. Number 3 was Baby Driver, which is Edgar Wright's newest film, which was such an incredibly crafted film. I said a little bit about the kind of Kevin Spacey caveat in my like what I got for Christmas video, so I won't talk too much about that now, but it's just such an incredibly crafted movie. From the soundtrack, the edits, to the cinematography, the way it's handled artistically is so slick. Like, there's a bit at the beginning when Baby's at home with his foster father, and he's flicking the channels, and every single line of dialogue that is said when he's like on the TV is repeated later in the film, or it's alluded to later in the film. It foreshadows the later events of the film. And those are things that you can only notice when you watch it a second or a third or a fourth or a fifth time. And I love that about movies, the fact that you can keep coming back to it and discovering new things, and that's what Baby Driver does, and it's so much fun as well, just on top of that being artistically incredible but also just really enjoyable to watch. Number 2 was The Last Jedi, and I know that it has divided Star Wars fans, which is insane because this movie is incredible. I absolutely love it. I think I prefer it to The Force Awakens, don't shoot me. Like, I do not have time for all the kind of middle-aged Star Wars fans that are picking it apart, because the thing is, you've kind of forgotten what Star Wars is supposed to be. I know that Star Wars now is like such an iconic thing, and the bar is set so high because Star Wars is such a big cultural event. But when Star Wars came out, it was just a little sci-fi movie that kids went to see. That's what it was. It was just supposed to be fun. And now you see kids going to The Last Jedi and they love it. Like, they're not picking apart like, that's not how the Force works, or Luke's characterization is a bit weird. Like, the kids are going in and they're having an insane amount of fun, and that is the point. You know, Rian Johnson isn't ruining Star Wars by having a sense of ownership over the movie. He's like bringing something new to a franchise that desperately needs it. When The Force Awakens came out, everyone was like, oh, it's just a retread of A New Hope, like, that's so shit. But then when this came out, it's like a completely new take on it, and they're like, well, like, it's not like loyal to the original films. It's like, just pick one. Like, what do you want? The thing is, we've been showing up for Star Wars for over, what, 40 years, decades. People have gone to see Star Wars, and that means that they're doing something right. Everything about this movie, from the cameos to the set design to the sound effects to the, like, creatures, everything that's crafted for these movies is crafted by fans for the fans. Like, there's so much passion and love around it, and that really comes through when I watch it, and I think it's so infectious. I just can't help but love something that so many people also love. I think it's just such a good film. And my number 1 of the year has to be Call Me By Your Name. I've seen this movie twice in the cinema, and it's not enough. I need to just keep tracking it down because it's so incredible, and I've downloaded the audiobook, which I really want to listen to, but it's such a beautiful story. It's a love story, but it's so much more than that. It's also a love letter to family, language, love, heartbreak, Italy. It's just such a gorgeous film, and I saw this in the middle of November, and I came out feeling like I'd been sat in the sun for 2 hours, and that's really, really hard to do. Like, if I could bottle this film up and inject it into my veins, I would, because the aura and the essence of it is just so, I can't even describe it. Like, you have to go see it. It's just such a lovely film to kind of drown in. It really is. You just want to sit there and feel, and like, that's the whole point of it, and it's just so incredible, and the performances are amazing, the script is amazing, everything about it, like, I just can't fault it. It's perfect, and I can't wait to see it again, and I will. Okay, and now I'm just going to throw out some films I didn't like in 2017. Some of them will be obvious, so I won't spend too much time on that, but some of them are a bit controversial, so yeah. Justice League. A bit shit, wasn't it? Yeah. Cool. Moving on. The Snowman. A bit shit, wasn't it? What happened there? That was so weird, because the cast was good, like, the director is good, the film was awful, and it didn't make sense. There were so many plot holes, and this big climax that the whole film leads up to, 1, it doesn't make sense, and 2, is over literally within 2 minutes, because, spoiler alert, someone falls into the ice. That's it. That's the big thing at the end of the film that we close the film with. Someone just falls into some ice. Flatliners. Although, Flatliners is awful in every way, the remake that came out in 2017, but I had a lot of fun in the cinema. I went with a bunch of friends and we just watched the 90s version and we just went in to tear it apart, and we did, and it was fun. So even though it's on my like worst movies list, it's probably like one of the most fun times I've had at the cinema this year. So here's my first controversial one. Mother by Jared Aronofsky. I did not like that film in any way. Yep, and you know, I know that some people, if they see this, will just be in my comments being like, well, you just don't understand, like it's so intelligent on so many different levels. I get that. I read so many articles and watched a lot of interviews. I understand what it's trying to do. I just think it fails. And I wrote that in my review on Letterboxd, and if you want to go to my Letterboxd account, there's a link in the description. You can go and read my thoughts and argue with me there. But yeah. Murder on the Orient Express. No. It was not Murder on the Orient Express. It was just Kenneth Branagh in a weird mustache dancing around for 2 hours. That's what that movie was. No. Like, I love that book. It's so well written, and there's such a sense of paranoia and claustrophobia because everyone's stuck on this train in the snow and there's a murderer there and no one knows who it is. But then we do, because this film gives it away so quickly. But then also it feels so boring because it feels like there's a long lead up, but then it also gives it away too quick, and the pacing is just weird, and there are so many scenes that don't need to be there, and just, yeah, it just, no, it wasn't good. My next controversial one, It. My review of It is my most popular review on Letterboxd, so if you want to read it, you can. But long story short, I'm terrified of clowns. That movie did not scare me. So in my eyes, it kind of fails as a horror movie, and it kind of fails as a Stand By Me but with jump scares, because that's what some people called it. And I was like, excuse me? These characters are not Stand By Me characters. These characters are stock characters that we've seen a million times before, and I don't care about them. So, and the CGI was shit, like so bad. Ghost in the Shell for obvious reasons, but it was just very soulless. Like, it was visually nice, but that's it, I guess. I don't know. Kong Skull Island, which I completely forgot came out this year, just not enjoyable. And then also, like, it was tainted for me because the director is kind of an asshole and he went like all this big Twitter rant at the CinemaSins guy. But like, fair enough, I understand like you having a problem with the CinemaSins guy. I personally don't, but I can understand why you wouldn't like that. But also, he was just kind of defending his film and being like, it's so artistic and so many people like crafted this, and I'm like, that just don't respond because it makes you look like a whiny teenager, and it's just not good, and it wasn't a good movie, so just sit down. And I guess my last controversial one of the year was the new Kingsman movie, which was not good. Like, it was one of my most anticipated movies of this year because I absolutely adore the first film. I gave the first film 5 stars. I've watched it so many times. I love it. This one, I was so disappointed. Everything that was good about the first one, they've just taken out. They just have. Like, it's not as funny, it's not as interesting, it's more sexist than the last one, and it's just like not fun. It's not fun, and there's no sense of threat. When I watched the first Kingsman movie, there were so many moments where I was like like, especially I'm going to refer to the parachute scene when they're jumping off the plane and one of them has to get the parachute over. You've seen it, you know what I mean. But there was not a moment like that in the second one. I was like, these are just people having fun with like cool cameras and special effects. This is not dangerous at all, and I just wasn't as invested in it at all. And there were just weird cameos of people that came back from the first movie that I didn't really want to come back, and then the villain wasn't as good. It was just kind of felt like a parody of the first film, which is not what I wanted. So those are my picks for the best and worst of 2017. Please leave yours in the description, in the comments, not in the description, because I'd love to read them, and I'll see you soon with another video. Bye!